It was interesting, Ocon got the first call. Normally you'd go for the lead car, but clearly they weren't under pressure from anybody else, so they were able to bring Ocon in first.
Vettel stayed out another lap, so is Raikkonen. What are they going to do with Hamilton? He stays out as well.
Right, so certainly different strategies here. How was the lap time from Vettel? A 39.1. We'll be up watching to see what Bottas can do in terms of lap time. And he's certainly not setting the world alight on his super soft tyres right now.
Okay, the rear is going, rear is going.
Rear is going on Raikkonen's car. He wants a pit stop pretty fast. And in the meantime, Bottas has gone slightly quicker than he had done in the final sector, but not by a huge margin. Stroll, by the way, about to be lapped by Vettel here. He's made a pit stop. He's running 11th. And Vettel will be desperate to get past the Canadian as quickly as possible. Crucial stage of the race here. This could be the decisive few laps to see who wins the Russian Grand Prix, and you can bet that four-time world champion Sebastian Vettel is giving it his all in the chase of Valtteri Bottas, who's looking for his first ever Grand Prix victory. Should be an opportunity, I would think, for him to pass down here.
Flag, it's difficult to get close.
He wants that blue flag to give him the opportunity to get past. He's not quite close enough there, and now Bottas is starting to turn on the pace.
Yeah, Bottas, good few tenths quick on that first sector. They do have higher engine modes available for these very moments when you go out in the fresh tyres. You can just extract a bit more performance easily. Just watching the Ferrari mechanics. Is Vettel going to pit? Yes, they're coming out. So Vettel, or is it for Raikkonen? This looks like a late call.
Yeah, I think it's maybe for Raikkonen. I'm surprised.
Yeah, it's for Raikkonen, yeah, Vettel stayed out, so...
Is he going to get past Stroll quickly? He needs to. But we're going to see Raikkonen in. He's already heading down the pit lane. You're on board with Kimi Raikkonen. He's still looking for his first podium finish of the year, and it's a possibility, but he's under threat from Hamilton. Great shot of the sequence. Yeah, just a little halting there. 3.1 second stop, not as quick as we saw from Williams, for example. Not the best stop of all. Bottas now is the one really fired up and going for it. He is the fastest man on track now, Valtteri Bottas. Just set the fastest lap on that last one as Raikkonen gets back up to full racing speed and rejoins in fourth place, not dropping behind Verstappen. He comes out in front of Van Dorn, who's been lapped and running around in 14th position. So Max Verstappen in as well now. Let's just see as he heads down the pit lane, trying to see what the actual stop time was, but we didn't actually see that. But Max Verstappen on his way, 2.3, that was a very good stop time for Max Verstappen. So that will help him in his race with Hülkenberg and Massa. Let's just check. He's come out just in front of Hülkenberg, but that's going to be a battle, David. These two will fight for position as Verstappen rejoins. So it's going to be close, but I think he's done enough. Hülkenberg is not yet stopped, in fact.
I think Verstappen would be a little bit more nervous if he'd come out just in front of a Mercedes-powered car, but they're both Renault-powered.
Okay, it's a box, 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 box.
It's Hamilton going to come in next as well. So let's see. He'll have to go onto the super soft tyres. No choice. They have to run this tyre at some point in the race. And he's in. Hamilton coming in. Fourth place. He's been running most of the race. He's currently in second with other people having made pit stops. Let's see how this one goes. Still an opportunity, perhaps, to snatch third place away from Kimi Raikkonen. Oh, a little bit slow getting that front left off. It's lost a fraction of a second. 2.9, though, still pretty good.
Yeah, did I almost see a little bit of flame there from the front left. Sort of heat build up there as they nail the brakes down into the entry of the pit lane. Raikkonen is just going through, so Hamilton will come out behind him. There's Raikkonen passing through. There's the McLaren of Van Dorn, and then Ericsson, and then Hamilton pops out behind him, so into a bit of traffic. Hamilton Vettel 32 last time around, which is exactly the same as Bottas, so the gap at 19 seconds, Bottas is going to be a few seconds ahead, so quite comfortably ahead. Let's just look, was there, yeah, see a little flame there as the wheel, or a spark at least, from that front left as they put the wheel back in place.
Well, there's Vettel, he's the race leader, but the gap, look, 19 seconds, not nearly enough to make a pit stop and come out ahead of...
We are staying out, pace is very good, stay there.
Interesting strategy this from Ferrari.
Yeah, well, they're managing the tyres, they're doing 38.2. If they don't think they're in high deg with the tyre, then then the Ultra Soft is just a faster tyre than the Super Soft.
Would they be holding on for a safety car? Maybe they're thinking that if that came one out.
Yeah, they're not holding out there because they think they're just going to overcome the 5 or 6 second deficit to Bottas. It's the unknown event that they're hoping for.
Yeah, and as long as they don't lose position, second place will still keep them ahead of Hamilton. Now, Hamilton has rejoined, as we saw, behind Kimi Raikkonen, but there's less than a second between them, so Hamilton will still be chasing a potential podium.
Now, we see they're confirming Bottas 2/10 faster than Vettel, but only 2/10 faster, given he's on that fresher tyre. Raikkonen, 37.3. Now, the gap to Vettel at 28 seconds. So Vettel needs to keep an eye on that, actually, because it's around 26 seconds or so, maybe, for total time loss in the pits. So it would be quite tight between Vettel and Raikkonen.
Yeah, that might suddenly make Ferrari wake up. And if the Ferrari's better on the Red Bull Super Soft tyre, then suddenly they'll be changing their plan and getting him onto it more quickly. Here we are with Lewis Hamilton. We know he's
about far behind. So gap to Raikkonen now at 8 seconds.
Oh, is that so big?
I think we lost a lot of time with that traffic, Lewis.
Front left's completely clean, so could well indicate the sort of balance issues that Lewis has been dealing with is certainly not affecting the front tyres.
His gap to, I don't quite understand why. Yes, because he is quite a long way behind Raikkonen, isn't he? Yes, much more than we expected, in fact. So he was also asking about that. So here we are, still watching Sebastian Vettel staying out there for now, the race leader, but due a pit stop at any point. But Raikkonen, his teammate, fastest man on circuit.
Yeah, Vettel incredibly consistent, within a 10th of a second the last few laps, so he's in a happy place on these tyres.
Further down the order, let's just remind you, Verstappen's running in 5th place. Hulkenberg is 6th, but due a pit stop, so he's going deep into this race as well. Massa in 7th.
And we are 9.5 behind Bottas and 0.8 a lap quicker.
What do you mean? We are behind Bottas.
Confirm we are behind Bottas.
How did we end up behind him? Why we didn't stop earlier?
He was leading the race, Kimi.
Ah, okay, I thought that they were the other way around.
He got mixed up as to which Merc was which, so he is surprised that it's Bottas that's up ahead of him. But Raikkonen showing good pace, as being told by his race engineer. And another good lap on that last one compared to those ahead of him. So this is a great stint for Kimi Raikkonen at this point. Let's see whether he can keep it all together and put his teammate under pressure, perhaps.
Bottas and Raikkonen, it's a good day for the Finns as it's unfolding, and we've got a Finnish driver steward here as well, which wasn't as comfortable for him a couple of years ago when Bottas and Raikkonen came together.
Sebastian, box for option.
Yeah, now I think they're looking at what Raikkonen's doing. They realise they better get Vettel onto that tyre because it's really working, and otherwise Raikkonen will end up in front of Vettel, which in terms of the championship, of course, would not be so great. They want Vettel to gain more on Hamilton. So, yeah, it's important that he comes in. Now, he's not coming.
He hasn't.
Stay out, stay out.
Well, conflicting information. This is more like Ferrari last year. Let's hope that they get this right. Corinne, what have you got for us?
Well, I think they've just looked at his pace in the sectors, and he's pretty much matched, well, within a couple of tenths what he's doing before, and he's faster than Bottas. So at this phase of the Grand Prix, you know, it's still a net positive for him against Bottas. The gap is stabilized at about 21 seconds. So if he can hang on, he'll have fresh tyres to come at Bottas. We see Kimi having a big moment there at the end of the back straight at turn 13, riding on board. Yeah, I think Ferrari are just trying to stretch this out and see maybe towards the end of the Grand Prix. If you look at Kimi's pace, guys, he's definitely happier on the super soft tyre compared to Bottas. So maybe Ferrari have used Kimi to judge the relative pace, and then they're going to give it to Vettel at the end to have a go.
Yeah, well, I suppose the super soft tyre certainly will work well at the end of the race, but will they be close enough to really go after Valtteri Bottas? It'll be very interesting to see. So there's Valtteri Bottas, currently in 2nd place, but of the people who have made a pit stop, he is very much the leader of that group, but Vettel is in front for now.
So just critical that you get past Kvyat as quickly as you can now, please.
So clearly, Mercedes know they're still in a race here, and they want to get past Kvyat. Kvyat's running in 12th position behind Lance Stroll, but quite a gap behind Stroll. So Lance Stroll looking to finish his first Grand Prix out of the 4 this year.
And box now, Sebastian. Box, confirm the box.
And this time it is going to happen. Ferrari are preparing for Sebastian Vettel to make his way in. Meanwhile, Bottas going quickly again in the sectors. So Vettel needs a good clean stop, and presumably this will bring him back out in second place, but it will be quite close with Raikkonen. Slight delay on the left front, nothing too major, but where is Raikkonen? Well, he should be well ahead, I think. As we look in the background, you'll see Bottas coming out of the last corner, and then we will see, coming out of the pit lane, we'll see Sebastian Vettel. It's a long gap, and there's Bottas just gone through. There is Vettel, and he has come out ahead of his teammate Kimi Raikkonen. So it's kept him there in second place. But what he has got, the tyres that are fresher than the race leader. A difference of 7 laps between the two cars. Is that enough for Vettel to really close the gap on Bottas, do you think?
I don't think we're seeing a big enough offset in the tyre performance to play that part today, but Ferrari have gone as long as they can. Just watch the front left. Yeah, he clipped on the stub of the axle of the wheel. Watch that front right as we look now. It's the front left, so he just took a little bit longer to get the wheel seated. And well, Raikkonen's having a very solid weekend.
Race, but we have lost 4 from the beginning. We lost Palmer and Grosjean in an instant. Alonso didn't even start. We also lost Daniel Ricciardo with some sort of brake problem. He's talking to Lee.
Well, Daniel, 2 races and 2 brake problems for Red Bull. This time it was on your car. Is it the same issue?
I'm not sure yet. I believe something probably similar. But yeah, we didn't really expect, we didn't expect it, but obviously that early in the race as well. So I don't know how much maybe running behind the safety car and having 2 starts hurt that. But yeah, it's obviously a bit of a disappointment, and just not being able to get many laps today in the race.
So it's not something there'd been any indication of over the last couple of days in any of the practice sessions. It's a race-specific thing.
Yeah, it seems so. We know this circuit is hard on brakes, but you know, we didn't do massive long runs in practice, but at least for what we did, we didn't expect to have at least these issues this early in the race. So I think something else is probably accountable for that, but sure, we need to address it. It's, as you said, 2 races in a row, so we'll hopefully get on top of that.
So Daniel Ricciardo there, but President Putin, in the meantime, has turned up to see the latter stages of the Russian Grand Prix. Now, joining us from the pit wall, team principal for Red Bull Racing, Christian Horner. Christian, we've just heard from Daniel. Obviously a disappointing day for you on his side of the garage. Do you think it is a repeat of that? Because you told us about the problem you'd had in Bahrain with Max's car. Do you think it's something similar?
To be honest with you, Ben, at the moment we're not entirely sure. It's a possibility. Also, he had a little knock at the on that side of the car on the exit turn 2 at the start. So you know, we just need to fully investigate it. But great shame for Daniel, obviously.
So you've still got the 1 car in the race. Max is running in 5th place, fairly lonely 5th place, it has to be said. We did notice at one point he came on the radio saying the brake pedal going a bit long. So does he have any things to worry about?
And that's what we call knockoff. That's where he's rattled a curb and the pads just you know, move out. So nothing problematic there. Obviously it's looking pretty static now at the end of the race. Maybe Mr. Putin could call out a safety car.
Yeah, we could do that. We were wondering whether Vettel was staying out there waiting for such a thing. He's obviously made a later pit stop, but it's looking pretty good for Valtteri Bottas at the moment, isn't it?
Well, Sebastian's in that situation where once he saw Valtteri pit, that it made sense for him to go longer, because that's given him fresher tyres for the last part of the race. So his only chance really is to have a slight tyre advantage, but as we've seen, the deck's pretty low, so I'd be surprised at the moment. I'd take Valtteri's track position over Sebastian's fresher tyres.
Were you surprised by the blistering we saw in that first stint on the ultra soft tyre?
Not too much. It was fairly superficial from when we looked at the tyres after they'd come off the car, and it's something we saw on Friday in the long runs. I think it's that long turn 3 where, you know, does a bit of damage, but it's pretty superficial. Look worse than it was.
Okay, thanks very much, Christian. Good luck getting maxed home and scoring some points here today. Well, we've just seen a little lock-up from Nico Hülkenberg, but up front, interestingly, David, Bottas is making sure he's putting in the quick laps, but Vettel is faster. He's got the gap down to 4 seconds now, so it's Bottas leading, Vettel second, Raikkonen there in 3rd position, about to lap Danny Kvyat, 4th place for Hamilton, 5th place for Verstappen, and Nico Hülkenberg still due his pit stop, but for the moment, he's in 6th place. The chat between Toto Wolff and Niki Lauda in this latter third of the Russian Grand Prix. So, only one key driver has not made a pit stop yet. That's Nico Hülkenberg. What's he up to, Corinne?
Well, I've been watching his pace pen, and traditionally, the last 3 races, Renault have really struggled with tyre wear. And although they've qualified well, they've gone backwards in the races. But this time round, his pace is actually very good, considering those tyres have now done qualifying. They've done 41 laps. His pace is actually very good compared to the likes of Massa, Perez and Ocon. So he's still in that fight, and he's going to get a fresh set of tyres and be probably a couple of seconds behind Ocon, but on much fresher tyres at the end of the race. So yeah, watch out for Hülkenberg in the last sort of 10-15 laps of this Grand Prix. Okay, thank you. That should be interesting to see whether he can get the Renault in the points once again after what has been a very tough weekend for his teammate Julian Palmer. Renault would love to salvage something out of it. Look at the intervals. Bottas still 3.3 seconds ahead of Vettel, but Vettel is the quicker of the pair.
Yeah, and Bottas looking a little bit more ragged. Let's just watch him here breaking down at 13, locks up the outside left, then the inside. That's the pressure building with Vettel, as Christian mentioned there, on the fresher tyres. So watch front left. So that's the unloaded side. It under-rotates first of all, and as he comes off the brake, he then doesn't get the retardation. And well, it's
how close was that?
Yeah, but it was fine. He had it under control. You know, in Monaco, in a couple of weeks, he'll be millimetres away from race barriers. So drivers are comfortable living with a barrier as long as they're not piling into it. But he's clearly done a little bit of damage to both the front left and front right. And well, we've seen angry Toto. That's eyebrow Toto. Well, not quite as good as Roger Moore, but
let's hope that from Bottas's point of view that he hasn't damaged that tyre too much. Kimi's been on the radio saying his brakes feel a bit soft. Race engineer Dave Greenwood has said that they've got a caliper running at a bit of a high temperature, so that's the reason for that. So it doesn't sound as though it's anything too much to worry about. But Vettel still bringing that gap down. It's down to 2.4 seconds on the interval as they go around the track. So this is good chase from Sebastian Vettel, and you can tell that Valtteri is feeling a bit under pressure because of that lock-up. This was the corner where he did lock up last time.
He went wide at turn 13. He has a big flat spot on the left front.
Ricardo Adami, the engineer for Sebastian Vettel. Oh, he's so low-key, isn't he? But useful information there for Sebastian Vettel.
Again, just confirming that they're throwing everything they can at the drivers to give them that little boost of motivation, as if we should really need it. But you can really see visibly the gap now. Vettel in the hot air of that Mercedes engine there behind Bottas as they go across the line. The gap down at 2.2 seconds. This is now getting uncomfortable.
Okay, Carlos, from data we can see something strange at the rear. Please avoid curbs.
Something strange on the rear of the Toro Rosso. Let's hope it's not a brake problem for Sainz. He went out of the race here a couple of years ago when he was having a great run with a braking issue on his Toro Rosso, and he's currently in 10th place looking for the final point that's on offer, 3.5 seconds ahead of Lance Stroll.
Well, this is giving us an interesting end to this Grand Prix, the fact that Vettel's getting into the magic zone. If he can get another 1 and a bit seconds, he'll get the benefit of DRS. It hasn't really been a big factor in the Grand Prix so far. 2 healthy DRS zones from turn 1 down to 2, and then again extra 10 through 13.
Very true. Very little overtaking on the straight line. Certainly this year we've seen a little bit more than that. Probably it's always tough to overtake here, but yeah, there's been very little. But look at Vettel's pace in the last few laps and how he's gaining on Bottas.
Yeah,
Gap's down to under 2 seconds now.
No, that's right. Well, as we mentioned at the beginning of the race, they're not as fuel limited and marginal. That's probably not even a factor now, given that they had a reformation lap and then the time behind the safety car. So this is really a question of Bottas just not making another mistake, just keeping it tidy. Vettel there going very deep, so he runs it through 15, trying to continue to apply the pressure. A couple of times quicker than Bottas in the middle sector.
Is that the pace of the front cars? Vettel has picked up the pace. Last lap was a 37.7 for him, 38.5 for Valtteri.
And this last lap, let's just see again. Yes, Vettel was a 38.0, gained 0.4 of a second on Bottas. But this is a key moment as well in the race. Bottas has never won a Grand Prix, let's not forget. He's being chased by a man who's won many, many Grand Prix in his career. This is where Bottas has to have that ice-like cool that the Finns are so renowned for.
Well, this is what will be a defining moment for his career if he goes on to win, and if he does it under the immense pressure of Vettel and a Ferrari hunting him down. He's got Lance Stroll ahead as well, so visually he knows he's got traffic, he knows he's got pressure from behind, and he's having to manage and compartmentalize all of the strategies that he can use, so he can strategically use the deployment of electrical energy to protect himself to any DRS attack that may come from Vettel later in the race. Right now, he just needs to keep it nice and tidy. One more mistake, one more running wide over the artificial grass, and then he's going to have Vettel right up his gearbox.
Do you remember your first race win, David, and the kind of in the closing laps, what's going through your mind?
Yes. Just a blur of activity.
Yeah. Hulkenberg in at last. We talked about how late he's making a pit stop, and let's see where he comes back out. This is going to be very interesting. Now, Ocon will definitely go past him, I think, and then it's Sainz he'll be racing with. I think he'll come out ahead of Carlos Sainz. Yes, he will. So Hulkenberg re-emerges in 9th place, but as Karun was saying, he's now on very fresh tyres. Ocon's not that far up the road, and he's done 14 laps on his tyres, so Hulkenberg could be the one to watch in the closing stages and see if he can make some overtakes on tyres that will be that much fresher.
No, it's reassuring to see Daniel Ricciardo still here. I'm hopping on his plane later to head home, so he hasn't left without me.
That's just as well. It certainly was a short day's work for him, sadly. Daniel Ricciardo, 2 retirements in 4 Grand Prix. Not really what you expect from Red Bull. Bottas needing to cut through the traffic quickly if possible. It's Lance Stroll getting the blue flags and blue lights all around the track, but Vettel, as you can see, right there. I mean, it's 1.5 seconds the gap as they came over the line last time. Hopefully Stroll, stays well out of the way of Sebastian Vettel as well. And just looking at the speed trap, certainly it's Bottas that has the best figures on the speed trap. 331 kilometers an hour or 205 miles an hour. Vettel not quite so quick on the speed trap, 318 kilometers an hour we've seen from him. That corresponds to 197 miles an hour. So in terms of straight line speed, the Mercedes has the edge.
Well, that's what stood out at the start of the Grand Prix as well, because once Vettel had Bottas along him, it wasn't until they sort of get into the higher speed and more draggy section of the straight and the run down to turn 2 that Bottas was able to take the lead of this Grand Prix. So that will be very much in Bottas's mind as one of the tools he has in his armory of defence, and of course Vettel will be aware as well.
Massa has just come into the pits. Apparently it was a slow puncture on the Williams. Oh, that's really tough for them to take, because it looked like they were going to get 6th place easily. Massa will rejoin in front of Sainz now, but that brings him out in 9th place. So big change for Williams, and now they're potentially losing valuable points to the two Force Indias. They move up to 6th and 7th. Ocon for his best ever result in Formula 1, and it moves Hulkenberg up into 8th place.
Well, as you say, unfortunate, and not normally a circuit where we've seen a lot of tyre issues in the past, but that's a big win for the Force India team. They're coming back line astern. Perez leading through Ocon, who's been doing a fantastic job. Young man but driving with a head of experience.
Yeah, really strong stuff from Esteban Ocon, and he won't finish 10th by the look of things at the moment, which is where he's finished all 3 of the first Grand Prix. This is his 13th Grand Prix, by the way, if you add in the ones he did for Manor last year. So far, so good for him. He's running in 7th place, some 7 seconds behind teammate Perez. But this could be a really, really tremendous day for Force India if they keep those cars where they are right now. So what are you seeing, David? More changes up front?
Well, just the gap, 1.4 seconds. You can see the difference between those 2 cars, and Vettel, he just needs to find that 4/10ths, and you can definitely see that Bottas on those older tyres and in this slower section of the racetrack, this is where the Ferrari was so strong in qualifying, traffic ahead as well. So Vettel will be pushing everything he can to try and make sure he can get himself within that 1 second DRS window.
So there we are, there is Bottas.
He looks tentative.
Yeah.
Just pressed that overtake a bit earlier on those 2 main straights.
The remaining laps, I want less talking.
Less talking, yeah. Let's just keep going. He wants to focus on what he's doing now. That's almost a Kimi Raikkonen type of response, isn't it? Focus on what he needs to do, which is hang on in there in front of Sebastian Vettel. Can Bottas do it? Can he win his first ever Grand Prix here in Sochi? Well, Vettel is only 1.4 seconds behind him.
You know, for the good news stories in 2017 Formula 1, I think it'd be fantastic.
Yeah, to see a new winner.
Yeah, well, and also the way he's handled, you know, there seems to be so much happened in the first 3 Grand Prix already of this season, but the way he's handled himself has been consummate professional, and this is, if he manages to hold on to this, this becomes a defining moment in his career. Not only will he be representing his first victory, but such a comprehensively strong weekend relative to his teammate Lewis Hamilton, who's really struggled to sort of calm down and get the balance on his car. Bottas has looked the stronger of the 2 all the way through.
But look at the gap, it's down to 1.1 suddenly. And Bottas getting through the traffic, but the gap is almost DRS range.
Yeah, this isn't quite so handy for Vettel, this traffic where it's fallen in 13. So this will cost him a little bit of time as he comes through 13, 14 into another left-right section, 15, 16. Will the Toro Rosso get out of the way before the last 2 turns? Yes, he does.
Carlos Sainz, that is, just moving out of the way. He's holding on to 10th place, well ahead of Lance Stroll. So it looks as though he's going to get the point there. It looks like Danny Kvyat's going to be out of luck in the other Toro Rosso. So that probably cost Vettel a fraction of time. The gap, yeah, went up to 1.9 seconds. So he got it down to, as we saw, about 1.2 when Bottas had got a little bit held up by the Toro Rosso. And then he got caught as well. So it's back to the same kind of situation, just under 2 seconds the gap between them, and as you can see on that last lap, effectively lost half a second. So Bottas aiming to become the 5th Finn in history of Formula 1 to win a Grand Prix, enjoying the likes of Keke Rosberg, Mika Hakkinen, Kimi Raikkonen and Heikki Kovalainen, who've all taken victories in Grand Prix racing in the past. But Vettel will not give up on this, and he's got the fresher tyres, let's remember.
That's a great record for a small country.
It is, yeah.
More famous for cold weather and...
Yeah. 5.5 million people, I think it is, the population. It's astonishing that they've come up with that many Grand Prix winners. And, yeah, tremendous achievement by those guys. Is Bottas about to add his name to that list? It's certainly looking possible. Let's just look back here. This was Raikkonen a moment ago.
And to go very wide through 3, and that then out onto the marbles. That would have cost him a load of time as he's trying to find his way past Stroll in the Williams.
We saw Grosjean crash there a few years ago by doing that, by running wide through that corner. Now there is more grip from the cars. Maybe it was a little bit more achievable. Just bouncing over the curb a little bit. Slightly different line still from Vettel through that section. As the gap remains much the same, 1.8 seconds. Bottas still holding off Sebastian Vettel, who is the World Championship leader, let's not forget. And although he wants to win this race, he will be conscious that he'll be gaining points on Lewis Hamilton, with Hamilton still down in 4th place and absolutely nowhere in terms of chasing Kimi Raikkonen. Hamilton's in a very lonely 4th place. It really has not been his weekend. Outpaced by teammate Valtteri Bottas throughout, and Bottas with that brilliant getaway and launch into the first braking area, getting in front of the 2 Ferraris. He has controlled the race ever since, and although he's under pressure right now, you get the feeling that so far so good. Let's us not forget though, a couple of years ago he was fighting Kimi Raikkonen for 3rd place onto the last lap, and it all went wrong on the entry to turn 4. They crashed into each other, and Bottas did not finish that race. Although he's had some great results here, he's also experienced some pain. So let's just see what happens in the remaining few laps.
Yeah, well, just looking ahead, no real traffic to talk of. You've got Massa on a fresher set of tyres as the next car up the road from Bottas. He's a class operator, so he won't get in the way of that particular race. So this looks now like it's going to be a clear sprint to the checkered flag. Next up in front of Massa's Hulkenberg, but I think they're going to struggle to catch him before the end of the race.
Another pretty good lap from Vettel on this one. They're, of course, lapping quicker and quicker as the fuel load burns off. Kimi Räikkönen heading for his first podium of the year, 84 in his career, but it will be his first podium since the Austrian Grand Prix of last year. He's had a bit of a lean spell. I think it's about 15 Grand Prix have gone by since he was last on the podium.
Yeah, they're getting down to the point of having around 10 kilos of fuel on board as all that will be required to get to the end of this Grand Prix. So you know, it's like having chucked out a reasonably sized passenger from your car, not quite Anthony Joshua size, but you've certainly got a 90-kilo passenger has stepped off, and just releases the car and its performance.
Another thing to keep an eye on is Massa, because he had a puncture, had to come in for a set of tyres. He's actually lapping quicker than Hulkenberg, and both are lapping faster than Ocon. So that could be, again, a little area to watch. The gap from Ocon to Hulkenberg, 2.7, Massa a further 2.7 behind, but both those guys are lapping faster than Ocon, who switched onto these tyres much earlier. So there could be some changes yet.
Good middle sector is impressive. Keep pushing pressure on him. He will make a mistake. 4 tenths slower than you.
Yeah, it's still the encouragement for Vettel. They're still looking for the mistake from Bottas. Will he make a mistake? Will he hold it all together? This is the big test for Valtteri Bottas. Only his 4th Grand Prix at the Mercedes team, in a position to win a Grand Prix for the first time in his career. What a magical moment it could be, but oh, he's got to hang on for a little bit longer yet. Watching Lance Stroll go through the shot. Looks like Stroll's heading for his first finish in Formula One, which is a relief after the tough start he's had this year with various things going wrong, but he's just outside the points. He's 11 seconds behind his teammate Felipe Massa, behind Carlos Sainz, 6 seconds behind Carlos Sainz, and then Sainz 11 seconds behind Massa.
Vettel again showing the pace of the Ferrari in the last sector. Visibly closes the gap.
And yet they were virtually identical in the first 2 sectors. But you're right, David, that last sector is where the Ferrari is looking quite promising. Actually, on that last lap, didn't gain quite as much. And yeah, they kind of concertina together there.
Yeah, that's right. Bottas handling the pressure perfectly. You see the pit board telling you the gap to the car behind. You glance in the mirror. And these are tiny little mirrors that they have on these cars, but they see the splash of red that tells him all the information he needs. Every time you come out of a corner, he'll have a little glance in the mirror just to see whether his competitor has blown up.
This must give him memories, actually, of that 2015 race when he was battling with Räikkönen catching him in the last few laps, and then it all went wrong at turn 4 between the two of them. And again, there's very little to choose. Although the gaps come down on the interval just around the track, that interval updating every few meters pretty much with the little checkpoints. And that part of the lap, Vettel's going very well.
He is, but as he gets closer to the back of that Mercedes, then, as we've mentioned many times before, he's getting into running in dirty air. So the efficiency of his car, although he starts to pick up a distant tow, he's not getting the benefit of DRS. He's got a whopping 0.4 of a second to find, but he has pulled a couple of tenths on on Bottas through that middle sector. So Vettel now, as he gets in to that really tight spot, he's going all in. He's got his engine turned up, and well, as the dignitaries take their place for the grandstand finish, we could well be seeing some high excitement. Can you remember when the last time the Grand Prix was won on the last lap, as we've got 4 laps to go?
Well, we've seen a few, I suppose, over the years, but just 4 laps to go here, and the gap 1.2 as they cross the line. Can he get to DRS range, where that rear wing flap will open up and give him just a little bit more opportunity to close the gap even further? This is great stuff from Ferrari and Vettel. The fact they've not given up, they're still pushing all the way.
Well, there's some debris in turn 5.
Some debris in turn 5. Will that lead to a late safety car? Again, quick on this lap, still chasing down Bottas. There you are, nearly within the 1 second at all 3 circuits so far this year. He's won twice. He wants a 3rd victory in 4 races, but right now Bottas is fending him off.
I bet the streets in Italy are fairly quiet at this moment. Glued to television sets.
Yeah, waiting to see whether Ferrari can take another victory here. He's got the gap to just under that 1 second, but can he hold it there all the way through this next little sector and then still have that same gap, which will allow him to use the DRS on the start-finish straight?
Well, even if he can, is that enough with DRS to overcome the deficit to the Mercedes? That's certainly going to help him.
It's a fast car in a straight line. He is close behind him, isn't he? As they come around this time, I'm not sure it's quite the 1 second. No, it's just outside. He still won't have the DRS available. 3 laps to go.
He'll be picking up a distant toe, though, so that'll just be sucking him along the straight.
New fastest lap by Kimi Raikkonen behind them. Raikkonen, as ever, putting in a fast lap towards the end of the race. He's in 3rd place, very far ahead of Lewis Hamilton, who's going to have a very quiet 4th position today.
Yeah, Hamilton 28 seconds behind his teammate. When was the last time when we haven't had a visible sign of damage to his car? He's just been in damage limitation mode.
Yeah, it's a very unusual event, this, for Hamilton. As you say, not to be on terms with his teammate. Well, keep an eye on that gap on the graphic on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. Still just over that crucial 1 second margin that gives him Bottas a little bit more safety. As you say, even if it gets below that, doesn't mean that Vettel can automatically overtake. But he's not quite close enough to pick up the DRS on this back stretch. It's so close to getting it. And they've got a bit of traffic as well ahead of them once again, so that could come into it. Massa in the Williams is next to be passed, and then there's a few cars, and they're all racing against Massa, Hulkenberg and Ocon, that group I mentioned earlier, that are now all fighting for 7th place.
Yeah, running about 1.5 to 2 seconds a lap slower, so they are going to catch them, I think, before the end of the race, with a couple laps to go. Massa will play ball. He'll actually help Bottas as they come through the final 2 turns. Bottas, I would expect, will pick up a distant toe from Massa, and I wouldn't be surprised if Massa gets out of the way before they get into turn 3.
He should have DRS this lap, Vettel, because he was just under the 1 second, but it won't allow him to close up hugely. Yeah, it is in operation now, so this will help him get that bit closer as they get into the lap traffic. What a time for a man who's looking for his first win to come across traffic.
Yeah, that's wonderful, as Bottas then will find himself still behind Massa, who's in his own battle, of course, with Hulkenberg. So he's going to be a bit more strategic with the point at which he has to move, and they'll have blue flags waved on the track. There'll be blue lights inside his cockpit as well, telling him that he has to move over at a certain point.
So Bottas knows he's got the Ferrari bearing down on him. He's got traffic up ahead. This is what it's all about to win a Grand Prix. You have to withstand the pressure.
Yeah, I was just about to say, this is what defines pressure. You know you're on the edge of adhesion. Every decision you make on pushing the brake pedal, the throttle, the point at which you turn the steering wheel, you're feeling the car through the seat of your pants.
DRS in operation for Vettel here. It's helping him a bit on this section. Look how much closer he is now. This is building up beautifully through the final lap. And Bottas still hasn't got his way past Felipe Massa up ahead of him.
Yeah, Massa's got his focus on Hulkenberg.
Who's it going to be, Mercedes or Ferrari here in Russia? Are we going to have a first-time winner or a 4-time champion take his 45th win? 1 lap to go, and Bottas is in front, but he's got to cope with immense pressure as we go into the final part of this race, and Vettel is still chasing him down. Look at him right up behind Massa now to lap the Williams, gets past that car cleanly and in a very useful position to do that.
Yeah, Vettel's going to lose a bit of performance now with Massa through 3. That might well just neutralise this grandstand finish.
It looks like that could be the difference. He goes down the inside.
No, he doesn't. Massa leaves it very late, so he will not be at all happy with the way that Massa handled that. And that not only has he got his tyres dirty through 3, he's just lost all the momentum, and this just gives Bottas an opportunity to breathe. The biggest difficulty he has now in this last lap. Well,
what was that? Yeah, you do wonder. Of course, they were teammates at Williams, Massa and Bottas. Maybe he was quite happy to see his former teammate come through. I don't know. Or maybe he didn't realise what was going on, but he certainly has had an effect there.
Yeah, he'll know what was going on. He's made a decision, and Well, it hasn't played to the favour of Vettel. That's racing, that's the way it goes. But what I was going to say, it takes the pressure off Bottas breaking down through 12 and 13. This is where we saw him lock up earlier. And it's now home and dry. He's got Hulkenberg ahead, and he's having to go around Wehrlein, who gets out of the way, but in a slightly awkward place. That's allowed Vettel to come back a lane. But there's only 3 corners to go, Ben.
It's tight, it is tight. Valtteri Bottas has just got 2 corners to go now to hold on for his first ever Grand Prix win. Vettel has pushed him, chased him, harried him, but he's not made him make a mistake. Valtteri Bottas wins his first Grand Prix here in Russia. A superb performance from the man who took pole in Bahrain last time out, beat Lewis Hamilton in qualifying yesterday, made a tremendous start, and first corner, he becomes the 5th Finn in Formula One history to take a Grand Prix victory. It'll be his 2nd podium here in Sochi, and his brilliant performance will just go throughout Finland as a great hope for the future. They've seen all the success they've had with Hakkinen and Raikkonen in the past, and now they've got this lad, Valtteri Bottas, delivering as well. Last time there were 2 Finns on the podium was back in 2008 when Kovalainen and Raikkonen were together. Well, this time it's Bottas and Raikkonen. A tremendous day for Valtteri Bottas.
Yes! Brilliant! Well done!
Took quite a while, huh? More than 80 races.
Did take a bit of a while, but well done. Immense pressure, well done, mate.
The weight.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful performance. He won it in his 81st Grand Prix. It took Mika Hakkinen 96 Grand Prix to win his first one, so he's beaten his helper, the man, his patron in many ways, Mika Hakkinen, at least in terms of the numbers of Grand Prix. Can he go on to match Mika in terms of world titles? Well, that's another big question, but he's answered the first question, David. He's a race victory, which is, of course, what means the world to him.
He does, and you can see the kickback in the steering wheel as he's doing his slowing down lap, the vibration from the flat spot. Look at the wheel shaking. So not only has he driven beautifully, he's done it with a problem.
In the race team at the factory, thanks so much for making this possible.
Yeah, and a thank you to the guys back in the UK, because Mercedes delivered today. We thought Ferrari had done the job with getting the front row of the grid, and they had brilliant pace on practice on Friday, but Mercedes responded and showed us that they are right up for it with the battle with Ferrari throughout the season. So well done to Mercedes, well done to Valtteri Bottas. The winning margin, 0.6 seconds. Karun is talking to Toto Wolff.
Toto, what a brilliant race of Valtteri Bottas under pressure. I mean, to take your first Grand Prix win with so much pressure must be amazing for him.
Yeah, what an amazing race. Yeah, great for him. I'm really happy. But we have to see what happened on Lewis's car. He was really compromised by the pace on his car and also the strategy. It was so difficult to just put him in the right place. If you're lacking pace on the car, it's difficult to sort it out.
But talk to me about that side of the garage. You see Tony Ross, and you know, for them it's been a big change over the winter, surprise change. How much does it mean to the mechanics and the engineers on that side?
It means a lot. It's Valtteri's first win, obviously Tony's first win with Valtteri, and that's great.
And finally, for you personally, I mean, you picked up Valtteri when he was down in GP3. You've watched it for a long time. For you personally, how does this feel?
My main role is in the team. That's the most important. I'm so happy for the win.
All right, thanks.
It's a very special moment for Valtteri Bottas, who for the first time in his life is the winner of a Grand Prix. He has achieved a lifetime ambition. He's got plenty more to go, but for now he can celebrate. He is a Grand Prix winner here in Russia.
Coverage of Formula One on 4, sponsored by the travel tools from kayak.co.uk.
Crafted with originality. Made to make you look twice. Meet the daringly designed Q30 Premium Compact from Infinity. Visit infinity.co.uk. Infinity. Empower the drive.
Jägermeister, a creation of 56 roots, herbs and spices.
You know that car insurance website we dreamed of?
Fantastic with that, Boris.
How fantastical would it be if they did it for motorbikes as well?
Almost too fantastic for words, Boris.
Or vans, even. Imagine that.
Fantastic!
Go Compare. You're quite all right. There's nothing quite like Go Compare. When you want to decide it should be your bike with. GoCompare.com is right up there.
Hi there.
Are you paying for other people's bad driving?
That's £53, please.
There's no excuse for that.
Hope you enjoyed the ride.
With the Aviva Drive app, safer drivers could save an average of £170 on our car insurance. Download the app now to see if you could save.
Just need to know if the customer app will be live Monday.
Can we at least analyze customer traffic?
Can we push the offer online?
Legacy technology could handcuff any company. But yes is here.
You're saying the new app will go live Monday?
Yeah. With help from HP, we can finally work the way we want to.
With the right mix of hybrid IT, everything computes.
She packed my bags last night, pre-flight. 0 hour, 9 a.m. And I'm gonna be high as a kite by then. And I think it's gonna be a long, long time till touchdown brings me round again to find I'm not the man they think I am at home. Oh, no, no, no. I'm a rocket man, burning out of fuse I've ever gone.
Coverage of Formula 1 on 4, sponsored by the travel tools from kayak.co.uk.
There's no blue flag and they're already sideways.
So Valtteri Bottas has been celebrating his success here in Russia, taking the win from Sebastian Vettel by the narrowest of margins, just 0.6 of a second, but he put up with tremendous pressure throughout, and lovely to see that he's been receiving congratulations. Felipe Massa, his former teammate at Williams, coming over to congratulate him. And Sebastian Vettel giving him a good pat on the back as well. A very special day indeed. Waiting for the podium.
Yep.
Constructors, now Mercedes lead by 1 point. They all know. They all know what it's like to win their first race. He's in pretty august company there, isn't he? Kimi Raikkonen, a world champion. Sebastian Vettel, a 4-time world champion. He's beaten them both, and he's also beaten his teammate, 3-time world champion, Lewis Hamilton. What a day for Valtteri Bottas to take it, and he becomes the 3rd different winner in 4 races this year. What a promising start to the season that is. And we've seen that Kimi Raikkonen has got the pace as well this weekend, definitely, to put both his teammate and Mercedes under pressure. Just a quick reminder that Verstappen was 5th, Perez and Ocon were 6th and 7th for Force India, Hulkenberg was 8th for Renault, Massa finished 9th in the end for Williams, and Carlos Sainz got the final point in 10th place for Toro Rosso. Lance Stroll got his first ever finish in Formula 1, so well done to him. He finished ahead of Kvyat, Magnussen, Van Dorn, Ericsson and Wehrlein, and we had the 4 non-finishers. They were Ricciardo, Alonso, who never started, Palmer and Grosjean as well. President Putin meets the winners.
How would you like this year in Sochi? How was everything this year?
It was good. The weather was also
It was amazing. I think the crowd, when you stand in the grid, all the fans.
Когда мы видели, что трибуны были все наполненные болельщиками, нас приветствовали.
Да, у нас все больше и больше любителей.
We develop having more and more fans of Formula 1 Я уже говорил, в Сочи нет ни одного свободного места в гостинице. And I already told my colleagues that all the hotels are booked in Sochi for now. It's good. Хорошо. It's very good. So now you need more hotels. Нужно больше строить отелей. Получается. Пока. Well, probably we have had enough. У нас по сравнению с другими странами, где уже давно Формула-1 развивается, у нас количество болельщиков растет. But unlike other countries that have long had seen the Formula 1 events, we now witness the growing number of fans.
Yeah, it looked like also more people on the grandstand.
Да, действительно, нам показалось, что больше людей на трибуне. Да, так и есть. Indeed, it's true. Я вас поздравляю. So, congrats. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, a little chat between the president and the top three as they prepare to come out on the podium. Chase Carey's there as well, the new boss of Formula 1 effectively. Bernie Eccleston's there as well, still involved in his position as chairman emeritus, but certainly not hands-on as much as he used to be. So they're heading out now. Vettel now leads the World Championship, Drivers' World Championship, by 13 points. Not a huge gap, but he'll want every one of those points advantage over Lewis Hamilton. Bottas has moved clear into third of Kimi Raikkonen. Verstappen's still in 5th place. Ricciardo is in 6th place, but didn't score any points here today. Perez in 7th, did score ahead of Massa, Sainz, and in 10th place, Esteban Ocon. And Ocon definitely having his best ever Formula 1 result with his 7th place finish today. So again, more congratulations to some of the new names in Formula 1. Ocon only in his first full season, having raced the latter part of last year for the Manor Racing team. So Bernie having a word with the guys now as we just wait for them to come out onto the podium. Looks like they're heading that way any moment. And we will see Kimi Raikkonen getting his first podium result of 2017, and this renewed Ferrari effort, which is proving so successful. They've taken 2 wins, and now Kimi, who's had several 4th places this year, finally gets himself back on the podium. He's been on the podium here in the past as well last year, so it's back to back 3rd place finishes for him here. Sebastian Vettel, he's finished 2nd here in the past as well. That was in 2015. So victory in Sochi still eludes Ferrari, but many congratulations to the man who's done it, Valtteri Bottas, a Formula 1 race winner. And it's time to enjoy the Finnish national anthem.